Have you ever wondered why the cops use such deadly force on so-called black men? Have you ever wondered why it takes so many so-called white cops to hold down one black man? What do they know about us that we do not know? And what do they see when they look upon our men? Let us revisit the testament of Yehuda, the fourth son of Jacob and Leah. These are the words that Yehuda spoke to his sons before he died. They gathered three themselves together, therefore, and came to him. And he said to them, Listen, my children, to Judah your father. I was the fourth son born to my father Yaakov, and Leah my mother named me Yehuda, saying, I give thanks to Yahuwah, because he had given me a fourth son also. I was swift in my youth, and obedient to my father in everything, and I honored my mother and my mother's sister. And it came to pass, when I became a man, that my father blessed me, saying, Thou shalt be a king, prospering in all things. Do you ever wonder why black people are superior and excel in singing, dancing, inventing, and athletics? Yehuda was told that he would prosper in all things. Yehuda's grandmother Rebekah was told by the Most High when she was pregnant with Yehuda's father Jacob and his uncle Esau. Yehuda told Rebekah that she had two nations of people in her womb, and that one would be stronger than the other, and that the older would serve the younger. Esau and Jacob were twins, and with Jacob being born second, he was considered to be the younger son. He became the progenitor of the 12 tribes of Israel. With Judah being Jacob and Leah's fourth son, it is clear that he came from a superior genetic seed line.
The most untouchable athlete in track and field, and honestly, he just might have been the most dominant athlete in the world. When you think about Bolt, you think of this.
Chapter 2 of the Testament of Yehuda. And Yahuwah showed me favor in all my works, both in the field and in the house. I know that I raced a hind, or a deer, and caught it, and prepared the meat for my father, and he did eat. And the roes I used to master in the chase, and overtake all that was in the plains. A wild mare or horse I overtook, and I caught it and tamed it. I slew a lion and plucked a kid out of its mouth. I took a bear by its paw and hurled it down the cliff, and it was crushed. I outran a wild boar, and seizing it as I ran, I tore it in sunder. A leopard in Hebron leaped upon my dog, and I caught it by the tail, and hurled it on the rocks, and it was broken in twine. Or two, I found a wild ox feeding in the fields, and seizing it by the horns, and whirling it around and stunning it, I cast it from me and slew it. So-called black men, the true Hebrew Israelites, are really kings and the real superheroes. These books have been hidden in hopes that we would never come back into remembrance of who we really are. Satan has deceived the whole world into thinking we are a color, we are just baby mamas, we are drug dealers, we're violent, we're savages, etc., etc. But as the earth continues to go through its birth pains in preparation to deliver the children of Israel from bondage, the whole world is going to find out who we really are. Psalms 83 says that the other nations have taken crafty counsel against Yahuwah's people. They have consulted against his hidden ones. They have said, "Come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance." Let's continue in chapter 3. And it reads, "And when the 2 kings of the Canaanites came sheathed in armor against our flocks, and much people with them, single-handed I rushed upon the king of Hazor, and smote him on the greaves, and dragged him down, and so I slew him, and the other, the king of Topah, as he sat upon his horse, I slew, and so I scattered all his people. Acre the king, a man of giant stature, I found, hurling javelins before and behind as he sat on horseback. And I took up a stone, 60 pounds weight, and hurled it, and smote his horse, and killed it. And I fought with this other for 2 hours, and I clave his shield in twain or 2, and I chopped off his feet, and killed him." Although many of the Gentiles do not know that we are the children of Israel, they still carry their ancestors' spirit of fear of us in them. The fear of our power, as though each Hebrew man be equivalent to 1,000. Let's continue. "And as I was stripping off his breastplate, behold, 9 men, his companions, began to fight with me. And I wound my garment on my hand, and I slung stones at them, and killed 4 of them, and the rest fled. And Yaakov, my father, slew Belizeth, king of all the kings, a giant in strength, 12 cubits high, that's about 18 feet. And fear fell upon them, and they ceased warring against us. Therefore my father was free from anxiety in the wars when I was with my brethren. For he saw in a vision concerning me that an angel of might followed me everywhere, that I should not be overcome." And this is the reason that Israelite men pose such a threat to the so-called white man. This is why you see multiple so-called white cops restraining one black man, because deep down inside, in the very core of their souls, they carry their ancestors' spirit of fear. The Israelites' ancestors were powerful, and we carry the spirit of their power. Yehuda killed 4 men by himself, and his father Yaakov killed a giant who stood around 18 feet tall. The Israelites put the fear of death in their enemies. I love the way chapter 3 ends. Yehuda said that an angel of might followed him everywhere he went, that he should not be overcome. This information was left for us by our ancestors, and something that the heathens would never want us to know. This is why all this information have been hidden. And even though now we have access to it, many of our people will not accept it because it appears to be something outside of the 66 books. The Bible says, "Get wisdom, but with all you're getting, get a good understanding." That understanding may be outside of those 66 books. During slavery, our ancestors were punished when they tried to learn to read. But today, our people just don't want to read. The Gentiles say, if you want to hide something from black people, put it in a book. Stay vigilant. Stay prayed up. Keep Yahuwah's laws, statutes, and commandments, and keep his holy days to the best of your ability. Remember Matthew chapter 24 and verse 13. He that endures unto the end shall be saved. Thank you for watching, and until my next video, I say shalom.